So, what really killed David Lynch? Now, I found it something that I found really sad and disturbing. Now, he did have emphysema, and ultimately that was what killed him. But I think what really killed him was not being able to continue working. I think if he'd been able to continue working, he still would have died of emphysema, but he'd still be alive now, and being able to work on film would have kept him alive. He said in an interview that he could no longer leave his house to work on films, so he'd never do another film. I thought he was saying he was too weak to leave. What he was actually saying was because of his health issues and his vulnerabilities, he couldn't leave the house because no one is wearing masks. So he was one of these people who had a vulnerability that he needed protection from you-know-what, the thing that we can't say on YouTube anymore, that has been censored, and the whole world is now in denial about still existing and still being a problem. And it's really sad and disturbing to think that had people not been politicised and just, listen to common sense and consideration, if people had been wearing masks, he would have been able to go out and leave his home and be able to continue working, and he still would have died from emphysema because it was, killing him. But I believe he would have lived longer had he had, working to live for, because that's something that really affects people. You see, when people retire, the decline is a lot steeper than people who are working and have something to live for, basically, and something that excites them and gives them a reason to wake up in the morning and get up in the morning. So taking that away from David Lynch, because he was diagnosed with emphysema in 2000, I'm like, it took them that long? Because he's been smoking since he was 8. And then he stopped smoking after 2 years. Even after the diagnosis, it took him 2 years to quit. And then, of course, a little over 2 years after that for it to kill him. But, I believe he would have been able to keep working, and he would have actually still be alive now if he, hadn't had this defeat, where it's like, well, physically I could still go out and work, but I can't because my health is too fragile, I'm too vulnerable, and there's no way to protect myself because no one's protecting me because they're just thinking of themselves and their own freedom. My freedom, because that's how it was politicized, that if you actually are considerate of other people and wear masks to protect them, that you're somehow the victim. And you have to exert your freedom by risking their lives and endangering them. And that's the warped sort of mentality that we've seen and that we're now living with, and people with vulnerabilities are living with. And there's a whole minority of people who can't leave their houses and can't go into society like they used to because they can't run the risk of this thing, and people are acting like it doesn't exist anymore, and it's not an issue because it's not an issue for them because they're not really feeling it because there's a whole, I wish I could do a video about this, but you can't because you can't talk about it anymore. You know what I'm talking about, but I can't actually say it. It's censored. It's something that you can't talk about anymore. There is this collective denial which some people have fallen into naturally and some people have embraced and some people are creating with false information and denial. And I get that the point is to keep the economy going and to keep people going out and working and all that. But long term, this is not going to work. And long term, we're going to have issues, and we're already seeing long issues. I can't actually say what it is, of course. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I just think it's tragic that David Lynch was not able to continue working because of other people's selfishness and not masking, and that he couldn't leave his house because of his vulnerabilities, and maybe he was still painting and that. And the other thing that happened last minute, he was already very sick, was he had to be moved during the LA fires, and there was a really sharp decline after he was moved to his daughter's house, I believe is where he died. So he had been sick for a while, his family knew, but the decline was swift, and he did have loved ones around him. But it just makes me sad because I know if he'd been able to keep working, it would have been a little bit different for him. The idea that he was just cut off from his art. But then again, when you look at how productive he was, how many films he made the last time he did make a film, I don't know what he would have been doing but he couldn't leave his house to make him another film, which I'm guessing he wanted to do. He wouldn't have talked about it, but it's tragic, it's sad, but it's something that a lot of people are experiencing and you're not allowed to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to go